You have to turn your Zoom video off and you're sharing screen. That's on stage.
Okay, I'm going to switch it off. Okay. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. You have to shut your video off.
Done.
Where are you, Shantanu? You should be on. You should have your video on. You should be on stage now. Turn on your video. Yeah.
Good morning, good evening to all. On behalf of IMBF, we are pleased to welcome those of you that have been with us for a long time now, as well as those who are new to IMBF. And of course, all the wonderful guests who joined us today. In today's event, we would like to focus on a very new way to look at your marketing philosophy. So please stay tuned. With that said, I want to welcome our director, Rishikesh Krishnan, on the stage.
Shantanu, and great to be at this event. Let me first congratulate everybody involved with IMBEFC for putting all of this together. We're really looking forward to all the exciting events that are planned and which we hope to participate in. IMB is very proud of this initiative, and I'd like to wish everyone all the best. This first event is, of course, looking very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me just use this occasion to just speak very briefly about some of the things that are happening at IMB, or at least the things that we plan at IMB in the years ahead. Of course, this has been a year with a lot of difference because of COVID. The students have been doing courses online. Of course, they finally come back to campus, but we've not allowed that to stop us from making plans for the future. Some of the things we are looking at include expanding our digital footprint. IMB started offering courses on the edX platform in 2014. We already have more than 50 courses on this platform. Our hope is to enlarge this further and to reach out to a lot of the undermanaged sectors of the Indian economy. With that, we can build on the more than 1 million learners who have already signed on to courses on the edX platform. So this is one way IMB will get known across the world, and we are really looking forward to take that to an even bigger scale. The second major initiative we are looking at in the Golden Jubilee year, which is 2023, which is just a couple of years from now, is building up our new campus, which is about 25 kilometers down the road in the Jigini Anekal area. And there we are hoping to set up a completely new school of liberal arts and sciences, where we will offer very, very path-breaking undergraduate programs. I will hope that we'll have an occasion when I can tell you more details about this. But this is going to be IMB's efforts to build the leaders of tomorrow. Given the complexity of the world today, we believe that this kind of an education will help us develop the leaders of the next 50 years. And that's where we are hoping to make an impact. The third thing we have on our plans is taking the excellent research skills of our faculty and putting them to work on some of the big and knotty problems which India faces. So we are looking at some multidisciplinary research programs, which again we hope to start in the next few years. So all of these are the exciting new initiatives, but then we have all the existing programs which we hope to do even better. Our globally recognized 2-year MBA program, the 1-year accelerated MBA for more experienced professionals, our public policy and management program, a new business analytics program that we started this year. I mean, there's an exciting portfolio of programs that we already have, and we look forward to taking them all forward in the years ahead. But today's event of the IMBEF is focused on something very different. First of all, I'm delighted that we have Raja Rajamanar, our distinguished alumnus, one of the gurus of marketing today in the world of practice, the CMO of MasterCard, and somebody who's been really giving new directions to marketing. He's going to be talking about quantum marketing, which I'm sure sounds very exciting. It's a new concept. I've heard a little bit about it and seen a few comments, but I'm really looking forward to hearing Raja himself tell us more about quantum marketing. So welcome, Raja. We are very proud of all the stuff you've been doing. Great to have you as one of our distinguished alumni, and we are really looking forward to your talk today. So thank you, and let's go straight ahead with that.
Thank you very much, Professor. Really appreciate the opportunity, and it's wonderful seeing you. Hopefully, we'll get to meet you in person sometime in the near future. But I really want to thank, firstly, Alan Krishnan and, of course, the Institute for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share a few thoughts and what I believe is a new way of approaching marketing, and which I'm calling quantum marketing. So hopefully I will be able to cover in about 45 minutes some of the key highlights of what this whole approach is and why I think it is a big deal, and what are some of the early results that we are witnessing when we deploy the power of quantum marketing. I'll give some MasterCard examples, which are of course proprietary, but I have the what do you call? I put these out to the public domain for particularly the academia, so that they get to see what is the latest and the greatest. And obviously, the book itself is coming in India out on the 25th of February. And before then, it might even be available slightly sooner than that. But what I'll do is to just focus on a few aspects of the book, essentially to give the overall picture. So with that, let me actually switch to sharing my screen so you can see the presentation that I have got. And hopefully there will not be any glitches. We rehearsed it and hope it will work. Let's see. Technology has always this unique way of surprising you. So here we are. Can you all see the screen? Okay, if not, Alan, you can just send me a text message if they are not able to see the screen, but let's go ahead and get started. So, I have been in the field of marketing now for close to 36 years. That's one hell of a long time to be in one field. And what I actually noticed when I look back, marketing, of course, has been there since the days of Pompeii, more than several thousand years old. It's not a new profession. It was practiced either in some rudimentary form or some sophisticated form, but it was always being practiced. And if you look at the evolution of marketing, it's a fascinating trend. And I wrote actually a document around this in 2013, where I said marketing has entered the fourth paradigm. I called it marketing 4.0. So if you look at the original way how people used to do marketing, it was all product marketing. I have the best product with a top performance at a good price, So you consumer, go and buy my product. And consumers will flock to that product and they would buy the product because the assumption was people are rational in terms of their thinking and they are logical in terms of their decision making. And that kind of a perception and a framework persisted probably for hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, somewhere down the line, marketers suddenly discovered the joy of psychology, sociology, anthropology. And they discovered that actually people might think that they are making rational decisions or taking decisions in a very logical fashion, but in reality, it's all emotionally driven. The logic may potentially inform, but it is not something which will drive your decision making in a real sense. That was the birth of the second paradigm of marketing, where the profession moved from pure product marketing to emotional marketing. And emotional marketing got a big boost, particularly with the advent of two technologies over a period of several decades. One is the radio, the other one is the television. When these two came, the ability for marketers to tell stories in a compelling fashion, either in an audio format, like you're narrating a story, or in an audiovisual format where you're actually showing them the story, had actually gained tremendous momentum. And so much so that people didn't even have to talk about the product to sell the product. You talk on some emotion which has probably nothing to do with the product. I'll give you a classical example, which is MasterCard. If you look at the entire priceless campaign, which is probably one of the world's most iconic campaigns, which is live and alive and kicking even till date, what does the advertisement show? Typically, it says, so the father and the son have gone to a baseball match. They're having a great time. And you say price of the baseball match ticket, so many dollars. The soda costs you so many dollars, autographed ball, so many dollars. But the time spent with your 11-year-old son is priceless. There are certain things that money cannot buy. Those are the most important things for you. For everything else, there is MasterCard. Now, it was an instant hit the moment it was launched. And even after almost like 24 years, it is still alive and kicking, doing extremely well till date. The point is that if you look at that advertisement, we don't talk about the credit limit, the security, the rewards, nothing about the product. It's about some vague emotion. And you say for everything else, there is MasterCard, and it works like a charm. And MasterCard is not alone. Like if you look at Coca-Cola, they had this campaign started off with open a bottle of happiness. They don't talk about the product like the fizz, the volume, the value, the freshness, or the nutritional properties, God forbidding, nothing of that sort. They just talk about happiness, right? Say the Pepsi with the choice of new generation and so on. The list is endless. So paradigm 2 really got its boost because of the radio and television in a big way. Fast forward to late 1980s and early 1990s. In 1990s, there have been two dramatic things which happened. One was the birth of the internet, which totally altered the way people would discover information and people would interact with each other. Right? It happened in our own lifetimes, which is fascinating because we saw the world pre-internet and we are here at the peak of internet. I don't even know if it is a peak even now. But the fascinating thing is, it suddenly enabled marketers to reach consumers in unprecedented ways in a highly economical fashion. If you have to send an email campaign, it costs you a fraction compared to a regular mail campaign. The snail mail will take forever, whereas this particular thing is something which is absolutely amazing in terms of the economics and the speed. So you put a campaign today, and then the campaign will go out immediately thereafter. So this is what we are actually doing. Alan, I know you have got the concern whether the video is moving or not. The videos will come much later. So I think it's all working quite fine, not to worry at all. But coming back to this, so what happened, that was one big technological change, internet. The second one was marketers discovered another field for the first time that they saw the potential and the promise of deploying in the marketing space, and that is data analytics. Till then, marketers are typically the creative type of folks with the right brain. And data is for the geeks and for the nerds and for the economists and the scientists and the likes. But then when they have figured what data can do, the confluence of internet and data changed marketing forever. And that was the birth of the third paradigm. It was the birth of digital marketing or internet marketing or data-driven marketing. Precision became the name of the game. Able to measure the ROI, return on investment, on your campaigns had become feasible. It was amazing. Then comes 2007, a very seminal year where two big things happened. Number one, iPhone was born, and that triggered a huge wave of change in terms of the consumer landscape. And that part of it is today the foundational element for all of mobile marketing. And the second aspect is social media platform. Facebook had scaled in 2007. So with the birth of the social media and the birth of the mobile devices that are always connected, and the confluence of these two changed consumers' lives completely. So much so, in fact, I keep joking that the mobile phone, the smartphones have literally become like a new organ in the human body. If you look at Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, literally. For example, I look at my son. Absolutely, he cannot part with his phone. It's always there, always on. It is always involved and engaged with the damn thing. But that's not him alone. It's across the board. Now, if you look at it from a marketer's point of view, that's a humongous opportunity. In the past, you had to look at things called prime time. Prime time, for example, on television, you say, yeah, here is Saturday Night Live, or in India, it was Chitrahar or some movie or whatever it is. Those are the times, or Mahabharata, or Ramayana, whatever the kind of things where crowds come and sit in front of TV. You have their attention, you have the eyeballs, and you know which times they were, and you would actually plan your entire marketing campaign and your media scheduling around that whole thing. But today, with the mobile devices, it's always on. There is nothing called prime time. There is a fragmented attention, and people are starting on one mobile device and completing that experience, completing viewing that video on some other mobile device. So it's become some kind of a continuous fluid media options that the consumers have got. Now marketers have to think, how the hell am I going to reach the consumer at the time that is most optimal, in a way that is not annoying and irritating or interrupting the consumer experience? And marketing had to undergo a complete reinvention. Now, these are the four paradigms. And actually, I wrote about this in 2013, I believe. And I actually spoke at Cannes Lions and a few other places and did interviews, etc. So fast forward 3 years, and I saw there was a book published with the same name called Marketing 4.0. I was horrified initially. I said, wow, somebody has actually stolen, including the name I had given in my articles. Of course, you cannot register or copyright or trademark the thing. And when I saw the author, I fell off my chair. It was Philip Kotler. Now, Philip Kotler, I consider, other than Professor Tirunarayana, as my guru, from whose book I have learned everything about marketing. And of course, Professor Thiru was the one who really taught us, and Professor Tagat and Bhaskaran, Professor Bhaskaran, and so on. And I almost felt flattered at one level, and I also felt, wish I had written a book. In any case, I read the content, and it was absolutely identical to the content and the concept. The language was, of course, different. I said, wow. So that really gave me a lot of validation that I'm thinking the right way. And if Professor Kotler himself has said this, there should be something I'm doing right. Then fast forward to 2019 actually. So in 2019, I started looking at the entire landscape, and I said that the world is dramatically changing. There is an explosion of technologies that are happening right now. Each one of these is going to dramatically alter the consumer landscape and the business landscape, and marketers therefore have to really adapt to that kind of a change. If you remember, like I said, paradigm 2 was powered by two big technologies, radio and television. Paradigm 3 was internet and data analytics. Paradigm 4 was Facebook, social media and mobile devices. Now we are talking of 24 new technologies that are coming. We're talking of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, smart speakers, wearables, autonomous cars, drones, 3D printing, 5G, blockchains. The list goes on and on and on. Almost 24 technologies are coming at us like a tsunami. Each one has a profound impact, both on the business side as well as on the consumer side. So marketing has to reinvent itself. I also noticed that marketing is actually already faltering big time in most companies around the world. That's a very bold statement I'm making. I have been fortunate to be presiding over the World Federation of Advertisers. The World Federation of Advertisers is, it's a body which has collectively the membership spends about close to $1.6 trillion with a T. So $1.6 trillion of money that they spend every year. And that's humongous, right? And I therefore have the opportunity, being the president of that organization, to interact with my peers and see what is happening in the industry. And the picture is not good. And we have to be acknowledging the problem if we want to solve the problem. And what is it? The strong statement I'm about to make is very provocative. Some of you might absolutely throw up on this statement, but it is a fact, whether you like it or not. Marketing is facing an existential crisis. Marketers are losing the seat at the table. Why do I say this? If you look at the number of companies which have done away with the role of a CMO, it is shocking. These are not CMO as in Chief Marketing Officer. These are not some vague industrial kind of companies. These are hardcore consumer companies, packaged goods companies. In India, we used to call them FMCG companies, right? Johnson & Johnson, Hershey's, Kraft, Mondelez, of course. The kind of companies which are doing away with this is scary. Now, Coca-Cola had done away with the role of CMO, but after 2 years of gap, they brought back, but not a hardcore marketer, somebody else who doesn't have marketing experience or depth as the CMO. Number one. Number two, McKinsey has done a study. They have done a survey amongst CEOs. More than 75% of the CEOs have said that they do not have any confidence in their marketers, in their marketing department to drive business growth. They feel that the marketers just don't understand their business enough and that they're not capable of driving business. 75% plus from the CEOs. Many companies have pushed the role of a CMO one level below. Literally, they're losing the seat at the CEO's table in many companies. And marketing, if you go back to Philip Kotler, we studied about the 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. Many companies today, if you look at them, they have fragmented marketing and distributed marketing to various other parts of the organization outside of marketing. Many organizations don't handle product. Many organizations don't have pricing in marketing. It's done by the salespeople or by the finance people or by somebody else, but not by marketers. Distribution, i.e. place, logistics are not with marketing. Marketers barely handle some level of promotions and communication. Even communication is fragmented. Public relations is somebody else. These guys are only looking at marketing directed to, or communication directed to consumers or their clients or prospects. Now, if out of the 4 Ps, marketing is barely holding on to one half of one of these 4, what does it tell you? Right? And this is a very dicey situation on the one hand. And if you ask, why is it happening? Something interesting, right? Like I said, marketers have been very classically the more creative, innovative, judgmental kind, judging. They have a fine judgment. It's those kind of people with the right brain. Data, technology, analytics, these are the things which are absolutely on the other end of the spectrum, which is the left side of the brain. And marketers, as it kept going up, they have not been keeping pace with the technology or with the data analytics. Today, for example, I have asked multiple of my colleagues, multiple members of my fraternity, so to speak. I said, put your hand on your heart. Do you really know how programmatic works? Programmatic is not even new. The damn thing is more than 10 years old, 12 years old. Do you know how programmatic works? The answer is no. Do you have a clue of how blockchains work? No. Beyond this word of artificial intelligence to just do name dropping, do you really understand artificial intelligence? Do you really understand augmented reality? No. because that's not where marketers are focused. That's not their core competence. So what happens when the data and data analytics and you have got the technologies coming at us furiously? There are people outside of marketing who started driving the agenda. Now, if you look at the entire digital ecosystem, it's totally controlled by people outside of marketing. The marketers are funding. That's all that they're doing, right? And it's absolutely really sad in many, many ways how they have lost their relevance. And if you look at the CEOs and the CFOs, and if they are asking a marketer a question, you are spending so many $1 million. What exactly is the ROI? What are you doing for the business lately? And if you as a marketer are caught like a deer caught in headlights and gaping and giving answers, which is like a marketing answer to your business question, which is, yeah, my brand awareness is going up, my brand index has shot up in terms of equity or health, and my net promoter scores have gone up. You have already lost them. It looks like you're running and hiding behind some marketing fluff. They look at marketers as fluffy, unfortunately, and that's true. And I'm not just talking about USA, I'm talking about this phenomenon at a global level, right? And that is dicey. And when CEOs and CFOs don't have confidence that they're getting the true value out of marketing, the question is, will they continue investing and pouring? And that's what the result of all that is, what you are actually seeing right now. So this is the situation. Now, however, this is also the most exciting time to be in marketing. Many things that we wanted to do as marketers, understanding the consumers in real time and giving them the most appropriate offers, highest level of personalization, hyper localization, contextual awareness of the consumer, location awareness of the consumer. All these things are possible today. And you can reach the consumer in so many different ways. In fact, if you look at something like the Internet of Things, right? At MasterCard, we co-created a refrigerator with Samsung. So the refrigerator has a big screen on one of the doors, and there are cameras inside which are looking at each of the shelves. Now the refrigerator looks at inside what the items are, and you're supposed to stack in a particular way. And when some stock is running low, it automatically places a reorder. Or you just stand in front of the refrigerator, either you operate the screen and then give the commands, or you tell the refrigerator, hey, reorder my milk, and then go away. The refrigerator will take care of it. The point being that every connected device is becoming a marketing device. That's like a utopia for a marketer, right? It's also highly complex and daunting as to how you're going to set up the ecosystem. How do you set up your own network, your own technology stack, and your own competencies and capabilities to understand that ecosystem and to take advantage of the ecosystem? But if you don't do it, you get obsolete very fast. But if you can do it, you are going to be incredibly successful. Now, for example, if you look at these technologies that are coming, now data and technology are the two greatest levelers of the playing field, wherein even a tiny company can actually access technology and data without investing boatloads of money and compete against the giants and give them hell. You're already seeing it. So many small startups coming from all over the place, and they are becoming so powerful that large companies either have to buy them up or they're struggling to compete against them, right? The democratization of the marketing field is being enabled by technology and by data in an unprecedented fashion. Now, against this backdrop, what do you do? As a CEO, the CEO is under intense pressure because now the competition field has broadened so much and the war has become so brutal that they need marketers at this point in time to differentiate. Technology by itself will not differentiate because the same damn technology is available to everyone and you can pay as you go. You don't even need to put huge investments. Same thing with data. You don't need first-party data. You have got enough amount of consumer permissioned third-party data that is available. And if you know where to look for it, and if you know, and it doesn't cost you a boatload. So when the field becomes democratized, I think companies are going to be incredibly under pressure. And the differentiating point then is going to be marketing. It's going to be creative excellence. It's going to be innovation. It's going to be a different ballgame altogether. Now, this imminent future, we're not talking about this is going to happen 4 years down the line, 3 years down the line. We are actually at the cusp. It's already happening. And this imminent future is what I call the fifth paradigm. The fifth paradigm of marketing is just we are entering it. And before Philip Kotler or somebody else wanted to write a book, that's why I started to preempt and write the whole book on a lighter note. But on a serious note, the existing ways of doing marketing will simply not work in the fifth paradigm. Absolutely not, they will not work. You need to reinvent marketing. Because, for example, if you put the principles of paradigm 1 in paradigm and apply it in paradigm 2, you would not have been successful. Same with 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Today, for paradigm 5, the previous principle, the frameworks, the theories will all break down. I'm making some wild comments. Initially, people were stunned or they threw up. But then, when I gave them the fact and the logic, they said, you're right. And I had major arguments and discussions with the professors at Harvard Business School, at Yale School of Management, with my peers around the globe. And each one, they said, no, that's not correct. We don't agree with you. But after half an hour, they said, oh, shit, this is right. This is exactly where the world is going, and we better wake up, kind of a thing. And I'll just give you one example. This is a little provocative, so take it in the right spirit. Marketers and companies, they spend hundreds of billions of dollars with a B every single year on loyalty programs, right? Across the world. That's very common. Whether it is airlines loyalty programs, retail loyalty programs, movie house loyalty programs, the loyalty programs all over the place, spending hundreds of millions of dollars. I came across a very interesting report on BBC. It said that when you looked at people who were in a committed or an uncommitted relationship, which means that they are married or they're living together or whatever be the kind of arrangement they have, more than 3/4 of them have admitted to cheating on their partners. More than 3/4 of people in a committed relationship or either legal arrangement, religious arrangement, marriage, call it whatever it is there, they have admitted to cheating on their partners. They have not been loyal to them. Now, I'm not making value judgment. What I'm though saying is that if people in a committed relationship where they know that there are consequences if they are caught, consequences of reputational damage, consequences of financial damage, consequences of emotional turmoil for the people they care about, still they stray. Still, they are not loyal. So with commitments and consequences, if people are not loyal, as marketers, are we stupid to expect people to be loyal to our brands? And we run loyalty programs and spend hundreds of billions of dollars? Just ponder about that. I think loyalty, the way it is manifesting today, is some kind of a value that is being embedded inside. It's a kind of a manifestation of a different pricing advantage that you're giving somebody, nothing more than that. You can call it whatever you want, you can position it whichever way you want. But these don't assure your loyalty whatsoever. And I got statistics of major various programs around the world, and it's very revealing. So I said, we need to reinvent loyalty. Let's take another example of advertising. We spend, as I said, $1.6 trillion every year we spend on advertising around the world. And put yourself in the shoes of a consumer. You're sitting in front of a screen. You're watching a nice movie. Advertisement hits you. What do? You use that time immediately to go to your emails or to attend to something or take a bio break. You're not paying attention to the ad, number one. Number two, you're annoyed. It's an irritation. Those of you who have seen YouTube, and if you're watching some song, I watch a lot of Bollywood songs, I must absolutely admit that. When I'm watching the song, right in the middle of the song, they interrupt to show an ad. I get very annoyed. And to make it worse, now they show two ads. There's an ad 1 of 2 and ad 2 of 2. And only the second one I can skip after a certain amount of time. By then, you have destroyed my experience. On the one hand, we talk about giving a seamless, frictionless, beautiful experience to consumers. And on the other hand, we go and destroy that experience and we introduce this friction and they hate it. As a consumer, you hate it. We are supposed to be sensitive to the consumer needs. And here we are ignoring that feeling of the consumers. So consumers said, okay, fine. If you guys don't listen to me, I'll have to do something myself. They started, number one, putting ad blocks. Ad blockers, there are statistics which show on the minimum 630 million ad blocker users around the world. And on the higher side, it is 2.2 billion. The reality is somewhere in between. Even if it is a billion, you as a marketer have lost access to this billion consumers right now. Number two, people are going in droves to ad-free environment. They are so sick and tired of the advertisements in any case. And of course, they also want a different kind of a content that they're looking for with a seamless experience that they absolutely go ahead and they have, they're paying money to watch all that stuff. Netflix has just announced last week, they have got more than 200 million subscribers. And they have got more than 1.5 billion hours of viewing time, which otherwise would have been on traditional advertising media or media which allowed advertising. That 1.5 billion per week of attention time is gone from a marketer's purvey. They have just become inaccessible to us. Then you have got Amazon Prime. Then you have got YouTube Red. Ironically, YouTube has Red and Normal. Or YouTube Red, I think they call it YouTube Premium, $12 a month. What do you get? Offline content and zero advertising. So no advertising is now become a value proposition for a product. What does it tell you about advertising? I keep saying that advertising as we know is dead. And that's true. We are heading there so rapidly. If you think that, oh, no, that's all nonsense. I'm putting my ads and I'm getting my sales. Buddy, you're kidding yourself. I think there is an inertia that's sort of going ahead in this whole scenario. But the reality is there is such a significant tectonic change that we have to recognize and do something about. And I keep talking about a whole bunch of things around in terms of the marketing ecosystem. Now, I'll just switch into I'll focus on a couple of areas now. Because in my book, I talk about each one of these new technologies, each one of these new enablements, and I talk about what's the role of purpose. Is it actually BS or is it real? Is it just a politically correct and politically cute statement that you make to publish in your annual reports as purpose? Or is there any merit for you to pursue your purpose as a company? What is the difference between purpose and cause-driven marketing or cause marketing? People absolutely confuse both to be the same. So I covered a whole lot of things in the book, but I'll just focus on a couple of things in the interest of time. So, and I'll give you MasterCard examples because we have done these and we have got results quantified, and it's something which is fun. And in fact, Harvard Business School and Yale School of Management have both written case studies and that are being taught not only at those two colleges, but about the latest count, 56 universities around the world, including London Business School and so on, and INSEAD. They're all teaching these two cases at this point in time. So I'll just go into a little bit of detail on that. We call our approach for that sliver called sense and sensibility, borrowing from Jane Austen. Let's look at sense. On an average today, consumers are bombarded with about 3,000 to 5,000 messages a day. That is a tremendous amount of data that is being thrown at consumers. It's a data overload, extraordinary data overload. You cannot process that level of information. You go crazy. So there is data richness, but then there is attention poverty, because the span of human attention, or the span of attention for human beings, has started shrinking since the multiplication of these devices, where they're constant. It's the opposite of meditation. What is happening? You look at this every 5 minutes, see if I got a WhatsApp notification, if I have got a signal, or I have got what new YouTube has come, what email has come. People are doing exactly the opposite of what meditation is supposed to give you, or mindfulness is supposed to give you, just the opposite. So span of attention is unfortunately coming down. And right now it has been calculated that the span of attention for a human being is slightly less than that of a goldfish. It's less than that of a goldfish. Just think about that. So with the span of attention of less than that of a goldfish, which is less than 8 seconds, and then you have got 3,000 to 5,000 messages coming at the consumer every single day, he just doesn't process. She just doesn't process it at all. And we keep on bombarding only two senses, the sense of the sight and the sense of the sound. And even those we don't optimize. So one of the strategies that I came up with, I said, is we will go to multi-sensory marketing, which means we will attack or will address all the five senses of consumers that are relevant to us. We found that three of them are most relevant, so we said, let's do it three. The sense of sight, the sense of sound, and the sense of taste. So let's go to the sense of sight. I told you about information overload. If you look at the screen out here, this is a tiny subset of all the brands that MasterCard has got, which is insane. In a world where consumers are desiring simplicity, we are complicating and throwing so many things at them. And they don't even know. 90% of them, they don't even know that these are from MasterCard. So what did we do? We killed all of them, and this is the only brand we have. Single-minded, single-purposed brand. That is step number one. Step number two, we said that this brand looks obsolete because it has been around for 50 years. And it looks a little archaic. The red and yellow are not really upscale, aspirational. The MasterCard logo looks historical and ancient, but the recognition is humongous. So I had a briefing session with my agencies. I said, look, guys, there are three elements in this. The red and yellow colors, consumers associate, we cannot change it. The two circles, we cannot change it. The name MasterCard, we cannot change it. Now go and come back to me with a new logo. They looked at me like I had two heads, right? And then we took a while to really come up and optimize a logo, which is this. The red color and the yellow color are not the same in red and yellow in the previous slide. They're different. Tiny shades of color difference can create a significantly different impact. People said this is aspirational, it is modern, it is contemporary, it is futuristic, and it doesn't look like a credit card company. It has got permission to go broader. And 1.5 years back or so, we have gone one further step and we dropped the name MasterCard from our logo altogether. Why? For two reasons. 84% of the people around the world recognize this logo that you see on the screen without the name MasterCard as MasterCard. Therefore, the risk is very low. Not many brands can do it. So I feel very fortunate that I have inherited a brand like this where I can play with it and come to this level, which is called the symbol brand. There is no words because people process symbols better than the process words, right? That's very clear between the primal brain and the cognitive brain. There is a different way in which you process information. Visual information is much better processed than information by way of words and text. The second and the main reason is when you have got devices like this, which are pretty small with the screen size, and they're becoming very rampantly available, and you can make your purchases on this, and with Internet of Things coming in a big way, what happens is, if I had my logo, even with the name MasterCard written below, it's barely visible. Nobody can read it. Nobody reads it. They look at the two colors and say, this is MasterCard. They click on it. To begin with, they have an advantage that practically every other payment product out there, payment network out there is blue. We are red and yellow. So there itself, it is a little bit of standing out. Second, when I take my name out, MasterCard out, and then I expand the size of this logo, it looks disproportionately bigger than the competitors by almost 16 to 19%, depending on the shape of the screen. 60 to 19% I look bigger than the next guy. That is a competitive advantage at the point of sale, at the moment of truth. So we did this. And this has given us a phenomenal move forward. And as a brand, we started doing extraordinarily well in terms of the momentum upwards and beating other brands. So much so, when I inherited the brand, we were at number 87 in the world. And today we are at number 10. And in the US, we are at number 8. It's not just because of the logo change. There are a whole bunch of strategies which are there. Logo change is one of the main aspects of our overall strategy, but still it's one element of the whole. But the point being that the strategy is working, and now in terms of brand building, we have become a top 10 brand globally as measured by Brand Z. Interbrands has measured us to be one of the fastest growing brands in the world. And it's now worth pretty substantial. So this is one. And The second aspect of it is we said, okay, this is great. What next in the multisensory, which is sound? If you look at something like a smart speaker, the penetration of smart speaker has been humongous. So you have got more than 25% of households in the US, Canada, UK, Germany, Japan, having more than 25% of the households have smart speakers. And in smart speakers, the entire dialogue is done through the medium of voice and sound. There is no visual real estate. So if you say, hey, I want to buy a diaper, Alexa will tell you, well, there is Pampers, there is whatever. So it's okay, buy Pampers. Done, sale is completed. How does the brand show up? Even though I got this beautiful brand that is there on the screen, there is no visual real estate. So you have to represent yourself in the form of sound. Now, the other point, just in fact, I will mention is that when you look at the sound, sound has not been new, right? It has been being deployed like jingles forever. Since my childhood, I remember some of the jingles I heard as a kid. It has got a very powerful way to lodge in your brain, in your mind and heart, and it evokes emotions. So it's not new. But when I said in a visual architecture of the brand logo, you spend so much, and there is it's like a nail absolutely to the finest of the details, and you got manuals and everything, playbooks. Surprisingly, for sound, there isn't any. There have been companies like Intel, which use a beautiful mnemonic at the end of their ads. British Airways uses an aria in their advertisements. It's like a song, right? And then you have got McDonald's has got, and NBC TV in the US has got. They've been there, folks, but nobody has a comprehensive end-to-end architecture with multiple layers that address different parts of your brain and heart. So we embarked on this. So here is what we have done. We first wanted to create a melody that is 30 seconds long. A 30-second melody that is pleasant. Obviously, it has to be pleasant. Memorable. Without memorability, there is no connection between the brand and the melody. So it has to be memorable. It has to be hummable. It should be simple enough to be hummed, because if it is hummed, it sticks deeper in the brain, and it's called an earworm. It's a bad name for a great concept. Nevertheless, that's what it is called. It has to be very versatile, which means whether I'm playing my melody at a football match or a cricket match, or I'm playing that melody in a setting where there is in a romantic setting for a couple having dinner in the evening, it has to be equally native to both these situations, to be very versatile. And the other one, it has to be highly adaptable, whether it is playing in Dubai or in Shanghai or in Rio or in Berlin, wherever, it should feel very native to those cultures. So we said, let's go and get that 30-second melody. There is a lot of neurological studies involved, understanding the science of the sound, the effects of sound on how of people's emotions and motivations and etc. And there is some phenomenal primary research that's out, scientific research that's out there that we tapped into. And I consulted with the best of the musicians, musicologists, recording artists, and you have got the studios, record labels, and so on and so forth. And we came up with a 30-second melody. I'll just play that melody for you. Take a listen. Right? That was the melody. What do we do with the melody? We put it in all our ads as a background music. We put it in all our sponsorships as a background music, at all our events as a background music. It goes as music on hold when you call a MasterCard office, or it comes as those ringtones for our employees or anyone else who cares to download it. It's there everywhere as much as we can. As this is a 30-second melody, which is the core. The next is a subset of this melody, which is a sonic signature. It is 3 seconds subset of this melody. And we play that at the end of all our ads. Think like Intel. Right? That's what our ads will end with. And I'll show you some examples. A further subset of this is what we call as an acceptance sound. Acceptance sound is basically each time your MasterCard card is swiped or tapped, or when it is used, to make a purchase, when the transaction is successfully completed, we give a sound. That sound is 1.3 seconds, and it is a subset of the sonic signature, which is a subset of melody. So there is a system where each one builds upon the other. And I'll play you that acceptance sound. Right? So this acceptance sound will be different with the same melody and tune at a Tiffany's compared to at a GameStop. So depending on the environment, we change the acceptance sound. Walmart will have a different acceptance sound compared to some restaurant. So it's highly versatile. And it started taking root so fast that right now more than 58 million establishments around the world already have got, points of sale around the world have got MasterCard acceptance sound embedded in it. That sort of exceeded our budget by almost 10 times our goals, which is really taking shape extremely well. And the great thing is, last year, we have been rated as the world's #1 audio brand, coming from nowhere, right? We just are 2 years old, our audio brand is, and we're already being rated as #1, which is a very good feeling. But more than that, consumers' level of satisfaction, gratification, when they hear the sounds and a sense of reassurance that they gain in this world of fakery and everything happening, it has got a profound and a subtle subconscious effect on people. And I will just show you some adaptations of how it looks. So when you look at different geographies, how does this melody translate? Take a listen. Along the same lines, we said, how does it play in different contexts? Remember, I said if it's an evening setting, it's a football match, how does the whole thing look like? Take a listen. Now, typically, what happens is whenever we are giving any what do you call guidelines to the countries, because countries have to create all this stuff. I can't sit and do everything in New York. So for a regular branding, you have got brand guidelines. How do you do it for sound? So we came up with a very, very innovative way. This is how it is. We call it the DNA and sonic DNA. Take a look.
MasterCard set out on a journey to create a truly holistic MasterCard set out on a journey to create a truly holistic, flexible, and future-proof sonic identity. The foundation is a multifaceted sonic DNA that combines unique melodies, riffs, chord progressions, and vocalization. Let's listen to the individual elements. The MasterCard Sonic DNA is built around core brand melodies that make the brand uniquely recognizable. Brand riffs function as the connecting tissue for the elements of the DNA. The brand chords provide additional layers to enrich compositions. And finally, the brand vocalization that adds a relatable human element to the DNA. Together, these ingredients make up the sonic DNA of MasterCard.
I don't know what. Let me see what I need to do here. I think something has happened with this. Give me apologies for this. I think. Okay. Are you all able to see my screen? I hope so. Okay. So basically, we also have got the responsibility to make sure that this tune is recognizable. And if the tune has to be recognizable, we need to do it in a way, not just only through advertisements, but through some out-of-the-box way, because I don't have 50 years to advertise before the tune becomes recognizable. If you have to jumpstart, what do I do? So what we did was we have created a music album. It's called Priceless. That is actually the cover of the album that you are seeing there. The colors are MasterCard red and yellow. And Priceless, of course, is the soul of MasterCard. And this is what we have created. I'll just play a little sample of the song. We have got 11 songs. It's being produced by the same person who works with Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, Mary J. Blige, and real top-notch artists. And 11 different songs. Each song has the melody of MasterCard subtly infused in a way. It doesn't look like a corporate anthem, but it really sounds beautiful. I'll just play for just a minute, take a listen, and tell me what you think. No, I think there is a... Is the sound coming through?
can see clearly, almost lost me nearly. He was such a
No, I believe not. Okay. But basically, this is something which is going to come out pretty soon, third quarter of this year. We are releasing it around the world and in partnership with some of the top media companies. But we are excited about this. 11 beautiful, beautiful songs, each in a different genre. There is an Arabic song, there is a French song, there is a all kinds of, it's a global kind of a thing. And absolutely done in a brilliant way, I would say, what these guys have done. That's not my creation. In terms of actual creating the whole music, wish I could say that, but this was this producer and composer from Germany who has done it, and from Sweden, I'm sorry, who has done it brilliantly. I'll go to the next one, which is the third sense, the sense of taste. Now, what has MasterCard got to do with taste? So what we did was we said, look, if you look at the areas of people's interests, eating is one of the most fastest growing category across any category that we find based on the spending on the credit cards and the debit cards that we track. So we said, how can MasterCard get into providing extraordinary experiences that money cannot buy, but you can get because you have got a MasterCard? So the first attempt was to create what we call as priceless tables. So you put up a table in most exotic destinations, like in the Louvre Museum, inside a museum, which normally you don't sit inside next to a dinosaur skeleton or next to Mona Lisa's photo. I know we are actually talking about that level of exclusivity. Or it is in the middle of a baseball field, and so on. And very, very exotic stuff we started doing. And they just get sold out in a matter of few seconds when we open them. We do thousands of these around the world. This is more directed to the affluent consumer base with profound success. And then we said, wow, this is great. How can we take it to even next level? So we started creating our own restaurants. We have launched 5 restaurants so far. And unfortunately, we had to temporarily shut them down because of COVID. That's something which is sad, but they will come right back up after COVID. And my aspiration will be that probably will be the biggest chain of fine restaurants around the world. So we got, for example, 4 restaurants we created in Manhattan. I'll just give you one simple thing. Like there is a place called Rock. Rock is a restaurant in Zanzibar, off the coast of Zanzibar, in the middle of the water, on top of a small rock. And we went and recreated that rock, the restaurant, decor, the sounds, the visuals, everything identical in Manhattan, indoors, but it's outdoor. We created an artificial beach and the waves are lapping at. And we have used some special visual technology, which gives you a total immersive experience. And when you're there, whichever window you look, it's an exact replica of the window back in Zanzibar. And you see get the same view from that. And it's so amazingly done. And it was the moment we put it out, opened the restaurant, Forbes has written saying that if you don't have a MasterCard now is the time to go and get one. Now, that's the kind of things that we are looking at to generate that preference for MasterCard and that pull for MasterCard brand. Because normally if you see, don't ask your bank, I want MasterCard. You just say, I want a credit card. And they will give you, okay, this card, that card, whatever. You don't even notice. But we want to change that pretty dramatically and create a pull. So I'll just play a video for you. Take a look at this. I hope it plays.
Food is how we connect with each other, share our stories, and explore our world. How many times has a great meal become the start of something priceless? Culinary is a nearly $10 trillion category worldwide. It's the leading driver of travel spend, ignites the passions of the affluent consumer, and is the #1 passion point for female consumers. So our efforts in this space are extraordinary. For the last 5 years, we have served our cardholders a feast for the senses called the Priceless Table. We've created hundreds of priceless tables worldwide. Each one has been unique. All have been unforgettable. Through Priceless.com, we invite our cardholders on epic Epicurean adventures with hundreds of exclusive experiences. All of these experiences are one of a kind. Many are once in a lifetime. This year, our culinary journey continues with the introduction of the MasterCard Bistro, an immersive, interactive, first-of-its-kind experience, reaching affluent travelers and debuting at Rome International. We're launching new pop-up restaurants in destination cities and partnering with Le Fooding and Michelin to shine a light on new, up-and-coming restaurants. And no feast for the senses is complete without something sweet. So in celebration of our new brand mark, we're introducing Priceless by La Durée, An edible work of art that fuses two original flavors, the taste of passion and the taste of optimism, to stimulate your senses and inspire you to start something priceless.
You just get the sense. I'll just show you how the restaurants are going to look like, or they look like actually. So. So I'll just go to one small aspect on the sensibility. I talked about sense. These are the three senses we tapped into, and we are still doing our bit. And then getting into the sensibility. Sensibility is to understand something which is slightly below the surface of the culture, and having your pulse to know what is happening and to be able to react to it, respond to it, or take advantage of it, or contribute to a positive change in a meaningful way. So one of those areas that we have seen is about the transgenders, right? Transgenders have a very, very unusual experience. For example, there is somebody called Lucy, that Lucy has become Lucas. And when Lucas has got the credit card, it still says it is Lucy. Unless they change their name officially, going through a harassment and all the process, it's not easy for them. Legally, they're supposed to carry the name, that's their legal name, which is in this case, Lucy. So now when Lucas goes to a shop and presents a card, the shopkeeper can suspect that this person has stolen somebody else's card because the name says Lucy, the guy is Lucas, or it's a male, the things don't fit, etc. Now, it might seem like a trivial problem to many, but if those people are there who are actually the transgender people, for them, it is a really bad experience. So we said, let's actually look at this and do something about it and see what we have done. Take a look at this.
Handing over my card makes me feel very anxious and nervous.
Just a total invalidation of my identity. I tried not to focus on that because it happens so often.
I used to have moments of anxiety and moments of panic.
It puts me in a place where I feel like I'm in danger. It just sucks every single time. They look at it and they look at you, and they look at it and they look at you.
Oh, is this actually you?
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Stop. That's so cool.
That's incredible. That's who I am. That's who I actually am.
Right? You get the sense. We actually had a lot of threats from people saying that you guys are doing crazy stuff. We took a bold stance. We believe that everyone, irrespective of who they are, what they do, or what they prefer to be like, they have a freedom to do that, and we should respect that as opposed to pass judgment on those folks. And fast forward, this has won so many awards, and the card is now being launched by as many as 11 banks in just the United States alone. Right? That's a record for any kind of a concept. So it's not only good from a society perspective, it's also very good for the business and building the brand as a brand that is inclusive. The other thing I would say is we also took over a street in downtown Manhattan. It was called Gay Street. And we changed it, not we changed it, but we modified it. And then we call it now the Acceptance Street, meaning you should be able to accept everyone. And you should accept everyone. Now, people like Chelsea Clinton and all those folks, they went and took their selfies here. We got a humongous amount of social media buzz on the one hand. And the other interesting thing is now Google has now marked this as a destination within Google Maps, so which is pretty cool as well. So it sort of builds momentum all around. Now, I have, like I said, written this book. It's a passion project for me. It's a labor of love, and I have done this, and HarperCollins is publishing it. And I ran the content through my peers, and I also had professors, scientists, neuroscientists, all kinds of people actually take a look at it to make sure that what I'm writing is actually factual, that it stands the trial in terms of try to poke holes and then see if there is anything in it that's falling apart. So after ensuring that everything is good and got thumbs up from everyone, I went and launched it. It's got just printed, and I'm very happy that the book has come now. And when I shared it with people who have given their comments on this, for me the best comment probably has come from one of my peers who is the CMO of General Mills. And he says, this book will do to our view of marketing what Copernicus's book did to our view of the world. It'll change it forever. Now, to me, coming from a peer, that is absolutely gratifying. I feel very humbled. So I felt fantastic about this, and big getting kudos. My boss, Ajay Banga, who some of you may know, and he's now the executive chairman of MasterCard, he has written the foreword for this book. Again, I feel very good about that. The CEO of MasterCard has endorsed, and all the CMOs of Unilever, global CMOs of Unilever, Anheuser-Busch InBev, Twitter, Facebook, Google, you name it, all these people, they have actually endorsed the book. So I feel very good about it and very grateful for that. And as I said, in India, it's getting launched on the 25th of February. There is a chance it might happen somewhere between the 9th and the 25th. But the good thing is it's already available as on pre-sale or pre-order on Amazon. So hopefully some of you would lay your hands on the book and try to read it. And I would love to engage with anyone who wants to reach out to me. Before we go to Q&A, you can reach out to me through either my Twitter handle or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to respond and connect, and I would love a discussion. So with that, let's go to the Q&A. I'll stop sharing the screen so at least you can see me and I can hopefully see the folks as well. So I will stop sharing the screen. I think I stopped sharing the screen, right? Yeah, okay. So just wanted to take a few questions if you have got, and happy to respond to them.
Thank you very much, Raja. That was a very inspiring presentation and also a good wake-up call to some of us. We would be happy to open up the floor for any questions. On the platform, you have Q&A right on the top of the screen. And most of us know the routine. Please keep the questions very short so we can get as many as possible. So let's just start with the first question that we have here. What do you still consider priceless as a marketer?
See, priceless does not mean expensive. Priceless does not mean so exclusive it is out of the reach. Priceless is a true manifestation of something that truly matters to you at the core very deeply. Right? So for example, something which is priceless to me may be trivial to you. So for a very, very, very hungry man who is not even able to feed himself 3 times a day, sending his child to school is priceless. They can't even eat food, but they're able to send the kid to the school. That is priceless, as an example. If you are a super duper billionaire and you can throw money at anything, what can be priceless to you? A lot. As an example, I'll just give you one experience that we have curated specifically for these kind of people. So you can book one of those priceless moments where you say that I want to go to the Louvre Museum after the museum has closed for public. And I get a walk through entire museum in candlelight, which is very ethereal experience, I can tell you. All the lights are switched off and you're going with a candle inside that. It looks amazing. And then you stand at the end of it in front of Mona Lisa's photo or painting. You sit there, there's a table, there's a dinner. You have your dinner with Mona Lisa, literally. And then you have got a professional photographer, so you don't have to steal selfies. They will take proper pictures for you. You go out and you sleep inside that glass pyramid created by I.M. Pai. So we have a special bed for you. You can go and rest there for the night. If you want to look at the scars, the curtains can be pulled down with one button, or the curtains close if you're looking for privacy. To a person of that sort, a multi-billionaire who otherwise even cannot get this kind of experience, that's priceless to them. Or going and having a one-on-one meeting with the Pope. For them, that's an amazing kind of an experience. Just because you got money, you don't get all this. So it's about people who are at highest on the spectrum or the lowest on the spectrum. Everyone looks for something priceless in their life. And that's it. So it's nothing to do with the intrinsic money value, but it is the intrinsic human value to them from their perspective.
The next question we have is from Ranjani from Bangalore. She's asking, tell us who has got their marketing right in this new normal?
In this new normal, I would say that some companies, like, for example, Amazon had the advantage where the product category was going in the right direction. So those companies, so they have really leveraged it to the hilt. So therefore, I would say they got their act right, because for them, it was going in the right direction. They ramped up the capacity, they ramped up everything, and then they started going very, very well. On the other hand, there is also companies which have been adversely impacted but did a beautiful job, which, for example, there have been some pharmaceutical companies. I don't know if they are present globally or not. But for example, let's take Anheuser-Busch. This is a globally well-known, like Budweiser and all these brands. Anheuser-Busch actually used their alcohol capacity to make hand sanitizers. And they got so much of goodwill, they were distributing it free. And you might say, but how does it drive their sales up? It doesn't, but it drives their brand up. It drives the affinity towards the brand. So there have been brands like Anheuser-Busch I deeply admire. LVMH has done a fantastic job. They started creating masks, but not designer masks only, the rich and famous, but they were creating, actually, they converted their capacity to actually produce this. General Motors has done something brilliant. They started actually producing ventilators, converting the capacity from cars to ventilator production. So I think some of these companies have done it. It is not just a gimmicky marketing campaign, but the whole company rallying towards a purpose or a cause and bringing it to life through marketing. That's what it is. I hope that answers the question.
It does. And this is more from my experience. Recently, like, my fire alarm at home, like, it went off, it died. And I was just talking to my wife, and apparently, like, 3 days down, I was seeing ads from Amazon, sponsored ads about fire alarm. And I never searched it anywhere. There was no browser, nothing. I just had one conversation with my wife. So, and I had the opportunity to read the advanced copy of your book. The question here is, and I know you have spoken about it, tell us more about ethics in the world of quantum marketing.
See, I think marketing has earned a very bad name in many communities and many people, right, in their minds. They think that marketing is a con game. It should not be. But unfortunately, many, many marketers have taken that shortcut, right? Since you read the book, you relate to this. So if you look at some of these cosmetics that come in, right? The cosmetic bottle looks beautiful and it is this big. And when you open it, the cream is there, and the cream is so much. The rest of it, there is an outer case and an inner case, and in between there is air. But you're communicating wrongly that this is something which is big. Now, that is deceptive marketing. Or take an example where, when I look at my tickets, since I live in Cincinnati and my office is in New York, I go to Cincinnati, from Cincinnati to New York and back every week. Because Cincinnati is relatively a small place, there are not too many connections. But because Procter & Gamble is headquartered here and some of the big corporations are headquartered here, like Kroger's and Cintas and so on, the demand is high. So what do the airlines do? Exploitation, pricing, one of the 4 P's of marketing. They take full advantage of it. So today, it's not a, you can go and check online. No, not pre-COVID. It's true. During COVID, I haven't traveled, so I don't know. But when I wrote the book, it was absolutely right. And I gave some references too. So you go and type for the tickets. the ticket to go from New York to Cincinnati, which is 1 hour 45 minutes, is more expensive than the ticket to go from New York to London, New York to Paris, New York to Rome, or from New York to California, which is like 5 hours journey. So 5 hours ticket is cheaper than this. You can say, well, capacitization, and as a consumer, I feel deceived. That's not good marketing. It seems to be like price gouging. We do a lot of things like that, right? Privacy. Now, do you want to be spied upon? And do you want your data to be abused, misused without your permission? That too? That I think is unethical, completely unethical. Before you're a marketer, you have to first put yourself as a human being. As a human being, as a normal consumer, normal person, do you want your data to be exploited? Do you want somebody to be looking into your life? No. In which case, when you put the hat of a marketer, why would you then do that? Like when you say, for example, if you have got one of these smart speakers at home, they're in an always listen mode, and they pick up the keywords from what you're saying, and then they transfer it to their cloud. And immediately somebody buys that data, and then it is coming to you saying that, hey, here is a system that is available for you, and you're zapped. And you might be thrilled, or you might be spooked. Right? The key thing is, if it was done with your permission, that's one thing. But will consumers give permission to something like this? Yeah, I'll give you permission to listen to everything that's happening in my house 24/7, so that some idiots who are sitting somewhere have got insight into my life in total. That's maybe no, by very logically, right? So I would say that marketers in the fifth paradigm will get killed if they do not have ethical practices, if they do not operate with the highest levels of integrity. And there is so much of trust deficit in this day and age. When that trust is going to be a key differentiating factor for brands, I think ethical practices will engender that trust, and that's what you have to pursue. And again, I've given a lot of examples, but I don't want to take up all the time for just this one question, but hopefully you get the gist.
The next question is more, we have some professors in the audience. So how can industry and academia partner in building a new generation of quantum CMOs? And if there are any realistic steps taken to do that?
That's a delightful question, Professor. It's fantastic. So at this point in time, I have been urging my peers, both at World Federation of Advertisers. So by board, we have actually discussed about it specifically. If you look at most of the colleges, including Harvard Business School, and I quoted them with the permission of the professor there, that the curriculum is a little obsolete. It hasn't kept pace. Many of the professors, they're outstanding, their commitment, their dedication, everything is fantastic. So as industry professionals, it becomes our obligation and responsibility and duty to provide the latest and the greatest material to the professors, because they are the ones who are shaping the future generations. They are the ones who are creating the future of marketing. Right? And that's such an important thing. I think marketers have to go out of their way to collaborate. How? Number one, case studies with the latest material. So like I said, MasterCard case thing. In fact, people in the company were a little horrified. How can we share something so quickly, because competition will come to know of it, etc. But we said, no, even if competition knows, they cannot replicate it. We'll be 10 steps ahead of them. So not to worry, let's be not insecure, but then let's make the material available. So that's how we had a case study written with Harvard, one with Yale, and it's now all over the world in various colleges being taught. Case studies is one. Number two, I have actually got some professors coming for a period of 6 weeks, and they shadow me. Basically, the idea is to see what it is in terms of being a CMO in today's context. So they are just shadowing me, going to all the meetings, seeing what the fun is, what challenges I have, what kind of budget constraints I have, what kind of people constraints I have, what opportunities I have, what influence I have, what network I have, what resources I have. So if they know the constraints and everything, and they know the operating realities, that's going to be hugely helpful for them. So that's two. The third thing is, we are actually just about to begin a huge interaction program with professors. And this is going to be, it's not yet announced, but it will be announced probably in the next about 8 to 10 weeks time, where we are going to, through the ANA is the Association of National Advertisers, we are going to reach out to a large number of professors and offer them a lot of material and offer them resources to upgrade their own current exposure I would not say skills. They're deeply qualified and they have got the highest regard for the teachers and the professors, but to equip them as much of material that they can dip into. So we're going to announce that. And and if anyone is interested, please feel free to reach out to me. And if you have any ideas, I'll be more than bending backwards to make sure that we will accommodate that. And also I said the CMOs and the senior marketers have to go to colleges. Now, when I graduated from IIM Bangalore in 1985, marketing was really at its peak. And, the best of the students typically gravitate there. Now, today, marketing is so way down in the food chain that even nursing programs are rating above marketing. I'm not belittling nursing, but I'm saying just in the hierarchy of things where they are. So we need to bring that glory of marketing and the gravitas of marketing back. And this is the best time to do it, given all the enablements that we are at the verge of this fifth paradigm. So I will be delighted to support in any which way. And not only that, I can get ANA, I can get WFA, and I can get my peers to come and actively participate. So they have to go to the classes, talk to the students. And particularly with Zoom thing and all, it doesn't really become difficult. It's just take an hour off your time and then you can do it. And I would love to do those kind of things, and anything else, just let me know. And Chandra, you have got my email address, and if the professors want, please feel free to share it with them. No issues at
all. This question is more from industry, and recently we have seen like consumer behavior consumers are more powerful than ever. Like recently we have seen this happening with GameStop shares and Reddit thing. So the question says, how can marketers be sure of their strategies in these times of rapidly changing consumer behavior?
See, I think that's a very powerful question. If you look at yourself as a marketer who is trying to market to consumers who are on the other side of the fence, I think you are going to be in trouble. If you look at yourself as a consumer, see what appeals to you, then put on the marketing hat and say, how can you enable and collaborate with consumers? That's where things will work. Don't try to sell something to them. There's a reason why car salesman term has come about. Saying that these are conning you into buying things that you don't need, right? The key thing is marketing is not about that. Marketing is about understanding your needs and satisfying them better, make your experience profound. And in the process, you pursue profits, or you make profits. So it's basically pursuit of people leads to profits, but pursuit of profits makes you lose people. There are times that you sell, but in future, there are no times to sell. There are times only to serve. So marketing has to be really taking a very different approach of how they will. And it is not theoretical fluff or utopian. I'm saying there are companies which are actually taking root. Now, if you look at, for example, a company like GoFundMe, everyone loves GoFundMe, but they're a for-profit company. They're marketing brilliantly, right? Airbnb, they are doing brilliantly. Now or Uber. No, these folks, they have actually found appropriate needs and tapping them into those needs to enable to the consumers in a brilliant way, seamless way, effortless way, and in a delightful way. And that's what wins you. But if you say, okay, I have got this hammer, now let me tell you why this hammer is good to hit with your head with, and you should buy it and I'll give you a 50% discount. Now that kind of a mindset is gone. So that's what I would say.
Got it. That's profound. Serving before selling, so that's profound. Next question is, how will you infuse optimism in businesses that are struggling with marketing in these tough times?
See, this is probably a tough thing to make happen in the short term. As I said, there is a credibility gap between the heads of marketing and the heads of the companies that they work for. Unless as a marketer, as a CMO, you earn your credibility and you prove that the investment is actually paying back in oodles, nobody has an appetite to put money into marketing, right? Last year has seen, largely because of COVID, almost a 30 to 60% reduction in marketing budgets for most companies. A lot of marketing people have been laid off because if you're not having marketing dollars behind, what will you do with people just sitting and twiddling their thumbs? So we had those kind of situations, right? But the key thing is, the time is to basically demonstrate to the CEOs that you need marketing more tomorrow than ever, because the field to compete is getting so brutally aggressive because of the democratization that's happening due to technologies and due to data, that you need some function called marketing to really put us above and ahead of competition. Now, in fact, one of the things they say is when something is created from within the company, or if somebody is propounding from within the company, it is seen as an agenda-driven discussion. So, for example, if I go to my boss and say, "Hey, Ajay, marketing is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So you have to give us more money, and we have to recruit more people, promote more people." I say, "Yeah, okay, go and sit in the corner." But on the other hand, if somebody is coming from outside and tells the CEO how critical this new paradigm is to demonstrate how marketing can be very effective, will really give a lot of teeth to the marketers inside the company. We always believe outsiders more than we believe insiders. That is a human psychology, right? And we believe that if it's for the objectivity or whatever be the cause that we perceive behind, the reality is that outsiders are believed. So in fact, what I started doing for some of my own clients at MasterCard, so we got banks and major merchants. So I go to those banks, like there was a bank in Poland where the CEO would probably, he would not stand marketing. He thought it was completely fluff and totally useless. And I learned about this. I spoke with the CMO. I said, "Do you think I should actually come?" And generally, as a C-suite member of MasterCard at the global level, let me come and meet your CEO, have dinner with him, and just share a few thoughts and exchange notes. The CEO of courtesy said yes, and then we met. And I started really telling him what marketing can do, what it is, etc. And he was absolutely thrilled. And he said, "I can't believe it. And I don't know why my marketing people haven't told." I said, "No, your marketing people have been telling you, but you don't listen because it's from in-house." I mean, not in a blunt way, but in a very tactful, diplomatic, soft, that kind of a fashion. At the end of it all, he requested me to do a 2-day workshop for all his management team and for his board of directors. And I took my team and then we did it. And now that company is one of the best marketing companies in Poland. It's not just a bank or a financial services company. It's a marketing company, literally, right? So the point is, many of the senior CMOs around the world will be more than happy actually to come in and do a guest chat, either as a seminar or a webinar or a roundtable, call it whatever it is. And I think companies should really take advantage of those kind of opportunities or create those kind of opportunities. And I can absolutely put people in touch with the right folks, because I cannot travel around the world evangelizing marketing, which I would love to do, but I have a full-time job to do. So, but if there is, for example, somebody in a particular geography who can really do a fantastic job, I can say, "Hey, let's connect," and you can invite the person as a guest speaker to your company. And so that outside in view always helps a lot. That's just one part of it. Second, have metrics. You have to put a metrics. Whatever be the philosophy and the what you call spin that you want to give, the stories you want to tell, nothing speaks better than data. Demonstrate very clearly. And in this day and age where so much of data is available, it's not impossible to create solid linkages between marketing actions and business outcomes. And that has to be done. So I would say some of these, but I think this is a topic for real deep discussion. It's a live issue that we have out there.
Got it. Another question we have from one of the panelists is, how is the concept of quantum marketing applicable to B2B scenario?
I'm delighted that this question was asked. Marketers have one big fallacy, that B2B marketing and B2C marketing and B2B2C marketing, they're all different. They are not. It is marketing by people to people. It's people to people marketing. Unfortunately, what we do in B2B marketing typically is, when you're communicating something, you make it loaded with facts. And the presentations become dry because it has to be formal. And then you send it to the guy or the girl on the other side. They look at it, compare whatever it is, and then they take the decisions. For example, if this is a pitch. The point is, you have to remember that the person on the other side is a human being, has emotions. He or she has the same dynamic going in the head and in the heart as though they're making their purchase when they're making a purchase for their company. There are always influencer gatekeepers and financiers for every transaction, even at home, right? It's not only in a B2B context, it's there everywhere. So the first thing is you need to humanize B2B marketing. In fact, I covered a full chapter in my book saying that how quantum marketing will transform B2B marketing, right? It's ripe for change. On areas like ROI and CRM, B2B marketing is ahead of B2C marketing today. On the other hand, on deploying emotions, the neurology, the sociology, the psychology, zero. B2B is completely zero. And we need to change that. And in fact, I was speaking with the CMO of Deloitte. I said, what do you think about this? It's absolutely so right. And Diana O'Brien. And then she said, this is absolutely something which, so in fact, I went and then gave a lecture to her team, and then sort of we went through the whole thing. But the point is, there is a tremendous need, there is a tremendous opportunity and a need to deploy quantum marketing in the B2B just as much as it is in B2C. They are not different. The channels are different. There is a process difference, but the principles are the same. The manifestation of how the dynamics work in people's hearts and minds are exactly the same, and you cannot get away from it.
Got it. One last question. We have several students in the audience, and some of them are thinking about what courses to take, what to major or minor in, etc. So what is your advice to young students and upcoming marketing professionals?
So I would say a few points. Number one, you should look at areas which will enable you to hit the ground running when you take up your job, which basically means, in addition to the core aspects of marketing, I don't know what subjects and what the syllabus is right now at IIM Bangalore, but the way I would think is you have to have some quantitative stuff under your belt, whether it is stats, probability and statistics, or it is economics, whatever, micro or macro, whatever. Have those enablements, number one. Number two, make sure that you take a psychology course. Whether it's a psychology course, sociology course, anthropology course, or whatever it is. I would place less emphasis. And I'm not talking about don't do organizational behavior. Probably it's a mandatory course. I wish actually over a period of time, instead of organizational behavior, maybe the mandatory course would be psychology. Because organizational behavior has its own limitations, and I have my strong views on that, but I don't want to offend anyone. If this is a mandatory course right now at IIM Bangalore. But I would say that go for quantitative courses because you need to get your data under the belt. If you don't get data under your belt, or if you don't have the aptitude for data, you have to really question whether that's the right field for you. Number two, you absolutely have to understand psychology. I keep saying that the marketer of tomorrow should be like Da Vinci. Think with both right brain and left brain. You have to be analytical and quantitative. You have to be creative and intuitive. It's extremely critical. That I'm assuming that when you're taking a specialization and you're beginning your career, your objective will be to reach the top of the profession, right? Absolutely. And I can tell you, into the future, it'll be more, so far historically, if you see many companies, it is the finance guys or the operating guys who will actually become the CEOs. But you will see that trend changing pretty dramatically. Already it's visible in some markets like the UK, where almost 43% of all CEOs, if becoming a CEO is your objective, 43% of all CEOs are from the marketing background, right? And that's a humongous thing. And marketing is going to be super critical for the future. Its prominence, its importance will dramatically increase. Equip yourself on both qualitative and quantitative sides. That's what my advice will be.
Thank you, Raja, for the I immensely enjoyed the presentation and the engaging conversation. And I would like to invite Nitin Rastogi, our secretary at IMBEF, to talk about the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. And thank you, Raja. It was an amazing talk today. We all really enjoyed it. It was just amazing. the way you explained about the sensory sensors that the marketers have to understand, the acceptance, the empathy that that MasterCard has shown towards engaging customers and providing the message to all the people. That was just amazing. Thanks a lot for this talk. This was really amazing. A lot of people have learned and will continue to learn more from what we have seen today. And I'm really looking forward to the book. I hope it comes soon and we all will enjoy from there as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nitin. Really appreciate this. Is a great opportunity. And I particularly feel grateful that I'm able to share some of my thoughts with my alma mater. This is the institute which gave me my grounding, my foundations. I'll always be grateful for, and to the professors of the institute who have been, such amazing and dedicated professionals that we are fortunate to have. That they shaped our lives literally. They gave our livelihood. Feel forever grateful to them, and absolutely amazing. And the only regret I have is I wish I joined IIM Bangalore today. The campus seems to be so much better than it was when I at the time when I was there. It was, I believe it was the first year or second year of the Bannerghatta campus that was there. And there used to be half of it was under construction, and it used to be that way. So when I came to receive my Distinguished Alumnus Award, I said, my God, this place looks so much better now today. I think I came in 2019. 2018 maybe. Yeah, I came there for receiving my award, which I was grateful for, again, for the recognition. But I feel so honored, and I know it's always a privilege. And if there is anything that I can do in terms of collaborating with the institute, it'll be a pleasure and a privilege to do it. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and to anyone and everyone who is listening to this talk, wishing you all safety. Please take care, stay safe, and be well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Raja. And on the same note, I would also like to thank upon the director of IIMB, Professor Krishnan. Amazing person. I am glad that I was a student in his class when we were with IIMB. I would also like to thank upon Cloud Mice for being our technology partners, without whom our today's conference would not have been possible. And amazing collaboration work and all the background laid up by the Team Up Corp, and obviously the IIMB Educational Foundation, a small group that has sprung up trying to bring people together, wonderful presentations, and a lot of other educational information to everybody on board. So please stay tuned, and I would like Alan to come up and talk about what our next programs could be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The reason I'm wearing my mask is I want to give a message. The world has stopped caring, and I think we should. And my message says, USA cares. So I can take my mask off. And to introduce myself, my name is Alan Krishnan. I was at IIM 2-3 years before Raja was there. Raja had the privilege of attending at least the budding campus. I was completely on a street school, and that's a whole different experience, the birth of IIM Bangalore. But first, at this, I'm the event manager for this, and I want to apologize to some of our guests, attendees, who had difficulty joining or perhaps could not join at all. And the reason is we made this an open event, and the number of people who joined in the last 3-4 hours before we started was just mind-blowing. So we had a capacity problem, a good problem to have, but breaks my heart that some of them could join late or missed it. So we will be sending an archived version to everyone who registers. At least they will not have lost their knowledge, but they lost the opportunity to ask questions. And I will invite them to send questions. We will use their questions, record answers, and put it as a supplement that they will get answers to the questions they have, because we had a phenomenal list of questions. I'd like to announce 2 of our future events. The immediate event we're going next is going to be very, very quickly, and I'm going to, for the purpose of convenience and effect, share my screen because it has a little more impact. As you can see here, our next event is about $100 million that was stolen from the Bangladesh bank. And this one essentially was heading towards crippling the nation's economy because you don't know where it would stop. And this we are doing twice, on February 4, 2021 at 7 p.m. USA Eastern Time, and on February 5th, 2021, 8 a.m. USA time. And this will essentially cover the entire globe. Any time zone, anywhere in the world you can watch. We are hoping we'll have more than 1,000 people. This is not a technical event. It's a fun event. It's a thriller event which could eventually grow to be a movie. It certainly will grow into being a book, and it's going to be phenomenal. And this is presented by none other than Rakesh Asthana, who was the IT director for the World Bank. And he's traveled around the world doing a whole bunch of things for the global economy through the World Bank. And after he retired, he started a World Informatics Cyber Security practice. And they were invited because of their expertise to come and investigate this. And the whole effect of it was just mind-blowing. So the event will essentially give you the inside scoop on the $101 million heist. And as I said, World Informatics Security was chosen to respond to this. And the hackers stole 101, but they actually tried to steal 951, almost $1 billion, through a breach in the SWIFT system in the central bank, which is unimaginable. SWIFT is one of the most secure places in the whole world, but they did break into it. So do join us for the 5th anniversary event. It's unique. We are going to be presenting it, and we hope to bring more such events for all of you. Now, we do have a participation for the event at $49. However, everyone who attended this event is invited to come back as our guest, as a small thank you appreciation from us, and also to kind of make up for those who had difficulty joining in this event. So this is one, and we will again communicate information about this to all of you. So you will have that. The next event we're going to have is towards the last week of March, when a very distinguished author, Apurva Purohit, she lives in India, in Bombay right now, and she's been stated as one of the 10 most influential women in the country. She has written a book called Lady, You're Not a Man. She wrote a sequel, Lady, You Are the Boss. And essentially it highlights that women are fighting for equality when they're the superior race. She's humorous, fantastic knowledge. We will keep you informed, and I do hope you will all attend this. Finally, the IMB Educational Foundation is set up to spread knowledge and learning across the world, getting the best possible resources one can lean on. So we would be delighted if any of our attendees would like to be a speaker at a future event. Please let us know. You will have contact information. Well, membership is open primarily to IMB alumni. We do welcome others to join us as guests, and that way you will be able to see everything that the IMB Educational Foundation Club offers. We have tremendous capacity of what we can do for you. We can host events for you. We can do private meetings, lunch discussions, anything to do with education or community service. Anything you're doing to make the world a better place around you, we will stretch out beyond expectations and do everything we can to kind of thank the world for what we have all been blessed with. So with this, I thank you all again for having been with us. And of course, Raja, you have been an amazing friend ever since the first time we met. We are very, very grateful, the USA IMB alumni. And we look forward to more events as we go. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend. Thank you all very, very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
It was nice. I think, Alan, it was nicely done. And I think it is, except few people couldn't join, I think we did a fantastic job.
Yeah, let me do two things. One, let me stop recording first.